Miami, Florida. It's July 18, 2005, a sweltering, muggy afternoon in one of America's sunniest cities. Neon signs flicker, casting a bright glow over crowded strip malls. Palm trees sway lazily under a cloudless sky, and the beaches are packed with people baking under the Miami sun, all in pursuit of the perfect tan. But behind the glamour, there are always hidden secrets and sinister surprises. And today, in the heart of Miami, inside the seemingly mundane walls of Golden Glow Tanning Spa, a routine trip for sun-kissed skin is about to become a nightmare. Linda Martinez was a woman whose life revolved around her tan. Born and raised in Miami, she had bronzed herself on the sand, in tanning beds, and even in backyard kiddie pools under makeshift sun reflectors. Middle-aged, fiercely stylish, and every bit a Miami diva, she had a personal motto: pale is jail. She would never be caught dead without her signature glow. People called it vanity, but to Linda, it was power, an identity, an aura that let the world know she was unapologetically Miami. Golden Glow was Linda's second home. She strolled in with the air of someone who owned the place, wearing oversized sunglasses and a bright wraparound dress that seemed to announce, "I am the sun." She didn't even glance at the receptionist as she signed her name in with a grand flourish. Today's going to be epic, she thought. Linda was prepared for what she believed would be the ultimate bronzing experience. But the spa had a hidden flaw. The owner of Golden Glow had been cutting corners for years. Wiring was outdated, bulbs were past their prime, and thermostat controls on certain beds had been known to overheat. Safety checks had fallen to the wayside in favor of budget cuts, and the beds had grown dangerous. Linda's usual tanning bed was practically a ticking time bomb, but she had no idea. As Linda made her way down the narrow hallway, the faint smell of burning plastic hung in the air, a leftover hint from an earlier malfunction. She entered her room, kicked off her sandals, and positioned herself in the bed with an air of anticipation. The goggles went on, and she closed her eyes, ready to let the familiar warmth wash over her. Only this time, something was different. From the first moment, the bed felt scorching. This wasn't the warm, enveloping sensation she was used to. This was an uncomfortable, prickling heat. But Linda just shrugged it off. "Must have upgraded the bulbs," she muttered, amused by the spa's improvement. Little did she know, this upgrade was nothing more than a broken thermostat spiraling out of control, sending the bed's temperature into the danger zone. Within minutes, the warmth became unbearable. Sweat pooled on her brow, rolling down her temples, and her skin felt like it was being roasted. Still, Linda clung to her dedication. "Beauty is pain," she whispered, convincing herself to stick it out. "Tough it out, Linda," she thought, gritting her teeth. After all, she hadn't gone this far in her tanning game to back down over a little discomfort. Then, suddenly, the machine made a strange, ominous hum, followed by a faint crackling noise that sent her heart racing. Alarmed, Linda pressed the stop button. Once, twice, but nothing happened. Panic gripped her as she tried to shove the lid open, only to realize it was stuck. "This isn't supposed to happen," she thought. "This can't be happening." "Hey!" she shouted, slamming her fists against the sides of the tanning bed. "Hey, somebody! This thing's broken!" Her voice grew louder and more frantic, but her muffled yells were swallowed by the thick acrylic casing and walls. Outside, the young receptionist was busy scrolling through her phone, headphones in, blissfully oblivious to Linda's panicked cries. She was entirely unaware that Linda was trapped in what was quickly turning into an inferno. The bed continued to overheat, the wires sizzling and popping as the internal temperature climbed. Linda's skin was burning now. Every inch of her felt like it was on fire. She clawed at the walls, pounded on the lid, desperate to get out. But the lock was jammed. She was trapped in a 200-degree nightmare. This wasn't how it was supposed to end, she thought, fear flooding through her. All I wanted was a tan. By now, the heat was unbearable. Linda was gasping for air, sweat pouring down her face, and her skin felt raw. Desperate, she tried to kick the lid open, but the plastic had begun to warp from the heat. Her vision blurred, and her strength waned. She knew she had minutes, maybe seconds, before the situation went from bad to catastrophic. Inside the machine, a loose wire sparked, igniting a small flame that quickly spread. The tanning bed rattled violently as the electric components melted one by one. Linda, trapped inside, could feel the fire growing. Smoke filled the small enclosure, choking her as she struggled to breathe. With the last of her strength, she let out a scream that echoed through the empty spa. Back in the lobby, the receptionist finally caught a whiff of smoke. She yanked her headphones off and ran down the hallway, only to be met with a door engulfed in flames. She screamed, frantically fumbling with her phone to call for help. The fire was spreading fast, devouring everything in its path. Firefighters arrived on the scene within minutes, but by the time they reached Linda's tanning bed, the room was a charred, smoldering shell. The once bright golden glow spa had transformed into a grim reminder of one woman's obsession with beauty and the deadly lengths she'd gone to for that perfect bronze. The aftermath of Linda's tragic accident sent shockwaves through Miami. Her story was all over the news. People couldn't stop talking about it. "Did you hear about the tanning bed that exploded?" became a question whispered in horror. Some said Linda had been cursed for her vanity, while others saw it as a warning against extreme beauty obsessions. The incident quickly became an urban legend in Miami's tanning salons, a cautionary tale with an eerie twist. Linda's face, that perfect golden tan she'd worked so hard for, became a haunting image in the minds of salon-goers who swore they could still hear her screams echoing through the hallways on quiet nights. In a strange twist, the owner of Golden Glow never reopened the salon. Rumor has it he left Miami for good, haunted by the tragedy and whispers of what had happened. No one knew where he went, but some locals claimed to see him muttering about Linda's fate, convinced her spirit lingered in the spa, unable to rest. Over time, Golden Glow was abandoned, its neon sign flickering out for the last time. People avoided the building, claiming they felt an eerie chill whenever they passed by, even in Miami's scorching heat. Occasionally, curious souls would sneak inside, daring each other to stand in Linda's room, where her tanning bed still sat, charred and crumbling, surrounded by ashes. As years went by, rumors of Linda's restless spirit took on a life of their own. People swore they'd heard her voice whisper, "Beauty is pain," in the empty hallway, or caught a glimpse of her figure, a faint golden glow, passing by the windows at night. Linda Martinez's story became a legend in Miami, a cautionary tale for anyone who dared pursue perfection at any cost. And, though Golden Glow remained empty, the chilling memory of the exploding tanning bed incident lives on in local lore, a morbid reminder that even the brightest glows can be extinguished in an instant, leaving only ashes behind.